Hey, good morning, good evening to everyone, depending on the time zone you guys are in. And welcome to everyone who are new to SymTrain as well as people who are already enjoying SymTrain. Now, this session, as you guys, while registering, you guys might have seen that this is about deployment of launching SymTrain. So that's what we're going to cover in today's session. But before we do that, I want to give a quick introduction of myself. My name is Kalpana Verma. I am a certified PMP. I'm a PMP certified project manager, and I'm a senior implementation manager at SymTrain. Here in Also, I want to inform you guys that we started this tips and tricks series in the year 2023, wherein we have covered new feature launch, we have covered sim creation training, we have also covered a kind of revision. And this year, we are starting with deployment process, wherein I can show you, I can help you with my experiences. And if I talk about my experience, I have 12 plus years of experience wherein I have helped launching and deploying different clients from Fortune 500 companies in helping them launch and deploy successful various projects in different verticals. Okay, yeah. So, and I do want to go ahead and talk about in depth about my experience. So, not exactly in depth, but yeah, a bit. So, I started my journey as a voice agent in 2010. That's where I kind of know now. Now I know that it was a really difficult time, and that's where SymTrain is really going to help. And that's what I have observed when I joined SymTrain. That's what I've observed, that SymTrain is really helping people in improve the training, in improve the production performance, and that's what we're going to see and discuss in today's session. Let me go ahead and share my screen to start the session. And feel free to go ahead and share your questions in the chat box. Here with me, I have Liz, who is BP of SymTrain, BP at SymTrain, and she will be helping me answers all the questions while I take care of the screen. So let me share my screen, and yep, please feel free to ask any questions and all the questions you guys may have. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I was just checking the chat section. Okay, I see we already have a question. Can you get me on how to integrate a video directly into SymTrain during sim creation? I have explored options like visuals, audio. Okay. Uh, we can surely go ahead and help you, Ashley, on that question. Maybe in the sim creation meeting, you will help us. You reach out to our CSM, who is Jamie, or you can reach out to whoever you are in contact with us, and we can surely guide you in depth for the sim creation training and answer all the questions related to that. Cool. Let's start. So we're going to discuss now. Before I start talking about the deployment tips for launching, I want to uh, inform or share with you guys that we have three types of major deployments. We focus on onboarding, coaching, and assessment. And in this today's session, we're going to discuss and organize a general a way wherein you can, use a process which you can implement and use in different use cases. Sharing my screen. Yep. So agenda for the day, just to give you an idea what exact things we're going to talk about, is one of the things would be deployment steps. So what are things you need to keep in mind? Thinking about how depth, what are things you need to keep in mind about your objective, your stakeholders, your challenges. So all the planning steps that we are going to discuss in depth here. Next is identification and collection of use cases. So identifying what stakeholders should be helping you, and what exact agents you want to focus on. So, for an example, do you want to focus on new agents? Do you want to focus on bottom performer, average performer? Are you looking to focus on any specific tenured agent like 0 to 30 days, 30 to 90 days? That's what identification and collection of use cases. So, based on what, when you have identified the focus group you are looking to go for, you need to identify the use cases depending on the challenges. Are 0 to 30 days agents facing any challenges with empathy? Are they facing any challenges with upselling, screen navigation, and all of those things? Next is deployment. That's where we are going to talk in depth about what all things you need to keep in mind when you launch your program, in terms of security, compliance, and in terms of setup, and just to ensure that your launch goes as successful and it goes the way you have planned for it. All of those things we're going to discuss there. Last but not the least, we have monitoring, which is really very important because you want to track and measure the performance. You want to see how exactly your agents are improving. Are they moving ahead with the performance the way you thought of going ahead for or not? That's what you will be checking there. So if in case I have to, combine everything, and if I have to give you all three steps in major three things, that would be, these are the three major steps. So deployment steps are majorly divided in accounts and user access. Now, accounts and user access with SymTrain is really very easy because setting up an account and user access, people who have already been using SymTrain, they would know it. It's really very easy. But yeah, in depth, we can talk about it in our sim creation training, which we have. And I will, at the end of this session, I will also be helping you with the URL wherein you can review the previous tips and tricks session, which we have completed. Next is, oh, sorry. Next is identifying and creating content. So once you have identified the challenges which your teams are facing, you want to go ahead and create good quality content because you want to it's like a food, that if you're presenting a good food to your team member, not just food, but if someone is serving you food, a good food on your plate, then you will feel like eating it. But if, though the food quantity would be very high, but if it is not pleasing enough, you would not go for it. So that's how you want to go ahead and create a good content, good quality content for your team members, for your trainees. If they like it, they will proceed for it, and they would want to go ahead and run more and more sims. That's what creating good quality content is really important for. And testing measures, you want to do your user acceptance testing, you want to whitelist it, you want to ensure that you have taken care of all the steps and then measure it. So far, anyone has any questions? Please share it. In case you might have faced any questions related to either of these steps, please share that in the chat box. We would like to answer those, and we can go ahead and discuss those as we proceed. Okay. Any questions? Just want to see it. Okay, I don't see it. Okay. So next is planning deployment. Now, when you plan for the deployment, what things you want to keep in mind? You want to first identify, you want to first understand why you want to introduce SymTrain to your project, why you want to introduce SymTrain to your company. And once you have identified the reason, once you have identified the objective, for an example, uh, you have a training company or you have a recruitment company, but then you want a maybe recruitment team, they are not able to identify the good number of questions they should be asking. Maybe they do not have enough time to go ahead and question the team that, we have 100 agents and they want to complete the target of 100 agents, but they're not able to do it. So that's where SymTrain can help you, that they can get all the questions done with the help of Sims. Now, maybe you have some new agent, new trainee agent in the BPO industry. They are not getting enough time to practice on mock calls. And if they're not getting enough time to practice on mock call, when they go on a live call, it will be really difficult for them to, you know, just see how to interact with the customer, what to answer next if in case customer is asking a specific scenario, or if customer is saying okay bye. So maybe it may be possible that the agent said okay bye, but they don't know if maybe after this, once they have resolved the customer's concern, they could have also upsell for it. So you need to identify the exact reason, what exact challenge your team is facing for, and then and for that, you would have to talk with your ops and T&D team. Once you have identified whether your ops is facing any problem or your training team is facing problem, accordingly you can plan for the deployment and look for the correct stakeholders who can help you with the same. Next is training needs. Now, once you have identified the objectives, you would want to go ahead and find the training needs. Like the previous example which I just spoke, that was your agents, like new trainee agents, they are in voice campaign, but they didn't get enough time. Now they are not getting enough time, could be any reason. It may be possible that the training agenda is very tight, and that's why they did not get much time for the mock calls. But with the help of SymTrain, they can get some time. They can practice one or two sims, because we prefer in creating smaller sims wherein the agency can also get an idea of how to interact, how to do a conversational call flow, and what to speak if in case customer is asking this or that. So that's what you would have to, that's why you need to identify what exactly the training needs and objectives are. Once you have that, you want to create a goal, because creating a once you have the goals created, it will be really easy for you to track it. But if in case you don't have any goal, you would not know where exactly you want to move ahead for. So that is really important. Now once that is done, you need to move forward and introduce, familiarize your team with the AI coach. Now AI coach is SymTrain. You need to show the team why you are pitching for SymTrain. You need to show them that this is the benefit of going for SymTrain. You need to familiarize them with the benefits, with the features which we have. Now, because until unless people they have started using SymTrain, they have started. Few people maybe they have not yet used SymTrain. So if I talk about my recent example, now there were a few of the POCs, who said they like SymTrain, but then they were not getting enough time. Now, when they started using SymTrain on a day-to-day basis, they actually saw improvement in their performance, and that's what really mattered. Because if you're not using it on a daily basis, or it may be possible that because that specific customer, they were using it maybe or sometimes alternate day once a week, and that's why they were not able to see results. But then when we asked them that please use it on a regular basis, and that's where you will see the results. And when they actually implemented it on a day-to-day basis, just giving 20 to 30 minutes a day, but every day they consistently they ask the agent to run the sim, they were able to see the results. They were able to see the improvements in the KPIs, in the metrics. So that's why it is very important that whenever you plan on introducing SymTrain to your team members, you familiarize them. You inform them that what exactly SymTrain is and how exactly that is going to help them. And before I speak too much, if in case there are any questions, please just go ahead and add that. Because it's a very big topic, and I'm sure many people, when they deal with it, they may have many questions. Oh, I do see questions. Cool, good to hear that. Okay, and last on the planning part is user selection. Now, as we uh, as we have been discussing, as part of the planning, now as part of your deployment, you would want to know who exactly you are targeting for. Are you targeting for trainee? Do you want to improve your a specific tenured group of agents performance, or what exactly are you looking for? Tenured people who want to improve the performance? Are you looking for maybe average performer who wants to improve it? Sometimes, it happens that you have an average performer who is really good with creating a good conversation, who is really good with CSAT, but they are not good with upselling. So that's where you can help them. That is why it is really important that you know what are the challenges they're facing. And once you know that, okay, this specific average performer is facing problem with upselling, what you can do is that you can go ahead and create sims for them just for upselling, spot selling, or how to do objection handling. Those are the topics you can cover for them. Once you have done that, you would want to know who are your stakeholders. For sim creators, who are the managers, who are the trainers, who are going to help you with deployment. Now, the reason why it is very important for you to identify these stakeholders is because the TND is the training team. They are really going to help you here when you want to, because they are really thorough with the product, and they can help you creating a good content in terms of thinking from trainee perspective. Operations, they can really help you in tracking the performance, because they would be checking team members performance on a day-to-day basis. What they can do is that whatever goal they have received from their client, they'll be checking that, okay, that this is the for specific agent, if the CSAT goal is 80%, they can go ahead and track the performance on a daily basis and check, okay, 80%, I see this agent is still at 70, next week 75, next week 80, 85. So that's why it is really important for you to identify who exactly your stakeholders are, and keep a backup if in case first person is not available. That is really important. But yeah, it's very important that you have main point of contact identified for your sim creation, for your manager role, and for your trainer's role. Moving on, we have identifying and collecting use cases. Now, this here I have kind of divided in three sections. And first is that you want to gather use case metrics that directly impact your current performance. So if I talk about this example, like we were talking, there is an average performer who is really good with creating good conversation. He's really good with CSAT. Now, since he's really good with conversation, he's really good in resolving customers' concern. His CSAT is good. So that is one KPI, that is one metric that is helping him improve the performance. Now, there could be another thing. Now, he's not good with objection handling. He's not good with upselling. He's not able to pitch for a sale. And that is, so you would want to understand, okay, now these are the parameters which is impacting his revenue goal, that is impacting his sales goal, sales conversion goal. And that's what you have to identify that, and then align that with the metrics. Identify the challenge, align that with the metrics, and then plan things. Once you know that, you want to go ahead and create a very specific type of use cases. Now, we do have a different type of sims. So far, people who have already used sims, they would know that, and people who have not even used it still, I would like to inform. So we create different level of sims. We create beginner, intermediate, and advanced. That means we train the agent on a step-by-step level. That means the agents they are using sims, they will be trained on what to speak, how to speak on a beginner level. On an intermediate level, they will be coached. They will be given some coaching tips on what to speak, and then advanced level would be something wherein that will be giving them a real life experience when they get on a live call. So you have to decide depending on your team members' performance, depending on what exactly they need. Are they only struggling with screen navigation? If yes, you may want to go ahead and create screen navigation sim. Are they struggling from basic? If they are bottom performer or if they are new agent, you would want to go ahead and ask them practice on all three levels: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. If they are average performer, you may want to go ahead and see that, okay, this person knows what to speak, but this person does not know that what are the important things that they need to speak on the call. So maybe for them, you want to go ahead and ask them to practice on intermediate and advanced. You also want to know what type of sim you want to create. For an example, as we discussed, like screen navigation. For screen navigation, you would want to decide if are they looking for, would, depending on the challenges we are facing, would audio sim be good, would visual sim be good? And then once you have decided what type of sim you want to create, audio, visual, beginner, intermediate, advanced, screen navigation, movement sim, there's so many variety. Depending on your team members' performance, you can decide what exactly you want. And then once you have decided that, you would want to have good script. You want to have good quality screenshots. Because as we discussed previously, if you serve good food, if someone serves you good food, you would prefer to go ahead and have it. But if someone, does not give you good food, the food is not looking really good, you may not get that interest in eating it. So that's what you want to go ahead and do here, that you want to create a good quality sim. You want to use a very good pixels images for your team members. Once that is done, your sim is created. Once sim is created based on the specific needs and good quality, we can move on to the next is deployment. Now we have reached a stage wherein we are ready to deploy things. We are ready to kind of launch things. And before we launch things, what exactly we want to keep in mind? We want to ensure that we give the stakeholders. Now, in the previous step, we identified the stakeholder. Now, once you have identified your stakeholders, once you have identified your sim creators, your managers, your trainees, your trainers, you want to go ahead and give them a proper training. If it's a sim creator, you may want to go ahead and give them sim creation training. If it's ops people, you want to show them how to do user management, how to check the reports, so that they can ensure that they are tracking the performance on a day-to-day basis. And for the trainees, you would want to show them how they can check their performance, how they can run the sims. If any sim has been assigned to them, how exactly they can check. So all these trainings and meetings is really important. You show them before you launch it, so that they have thorough knowledge of how to use the tool. And it is really very easy tool based on the feedbacks, the observations we have received from our client. Specifically, we have heard that this is a really very good tool, which people, specifically the new trainees, new agents, they really love it. And talking about communication strategy, now that is really very important. Again, I've been saying that this step is really very important. That step is every step is really important, but yeah, in their own way, in their own stage. So when we are doing the launch, communication strategy means when exactly you want to go ahead and reach out to SymTrain. It's very important for you to know that there are few things which you can take care of on your own. Things like you, if in case you want to, add any users, you want to assign any SIMs, maybe before we launch the program, you want to check if the microphone setting is done correctly or not, if the internet issues, if in case there are any, are they fixed or not? Is the pop-up blocker, is there any pop-up blocker? Maybe because of that, your agents are not able to use it. So those are few things which you can check it on your end. But if you think there is something you are not able to fix it on your end, you can obviously go ahead and drop an email to support@simtrend.com. Now, there's one new thing which we have recently launched, and I would like to show you guys. Now, so far, so far, if in case someone wanted to go ahead and reset the password, they had to reach out to SymTrain. But we have recently launched a new feature with which now you will have your own freedom to reset the password on your own. And let me quickly show you how to do that. This can be done by the org admin. You should be logged into your account, click on org admin, you should be on users. Now, whoever for whichever agent you want to reset the password, you click on this pencil sign. Once you click on it, show you this page would be loaded, and you click on reset user password. I'll click on confirm reset, and I will receive a temporary password, which I can copy and I can share it with my team member. So that's really easy. And this is something new which has come, and I'm really sure that once you guys start using it, you will really like it. Has anyone so far observed it? If not, maybe yeah. Now you can observe it. Once you go back after this meeting, you can look for it and see how this is working for you. Second thing, I also, while we are discussing about how to escalate your issues, right? So first, you'll be checking if this issue can be resolved on your own. If not, if you are looking to drop an email to SymTrain, you already have the email address, that is support@symtrain.com, or I would not say or, but I would say and that is here on the account you have this sign. This is help button, and once you log into your account, you will have the help button. You click on the help button. Here you can explain the issue which you want to go ahead and share in the email as well. Once you do that, you click on submit issue and you upload the report. So what this will do is that this will kind of uh, whatever you have been doing in last 2 3 screens, that's what it will capture and it will send directly to us. And that way it will become easy for us to look into the issue and research into the issue to identify what is happening, and we can accordingly surely help you with that. Now, once we have identified what exact things, or the once the team your team knows what type of technical issues they can take care of, what type of technical issues they need to reach out to the support team, you would want to know you would want to finalize your launch date. And once you have finalized your launch date, before the launch date, you would want to go ahead and whitelist SymTrain URL in your production, in your training environment, depending on what exactly you are targeting, what exactly you want to focus on, what exactly you want to launch your program with. You want to whitelist your URL. Now, once that is done, you want to go ahead and check whether you want to launch your program with SSO, without SSO. There's a different process with SSO and without SSO. So if it is with SSO, you can reach out to SymTrain and we can help you set up SSO. If it is without SSO, you can set up all the accounts in SymTrain for your all the team members in bulk, in individually as you prefer. And once that is done, your agents, your trainees, all the users, basically they will be receiving an email from support@symtran.com along with the credentials, username, password, and with the URL, which will redirect them to login page, and they will be asked to reset their password. This step is done. Now, once this step is done, you need to, or maybe you can ask your managers, your sim creators to assign some sims to the selected group of trainees, selected group of agents, because you want to complete your testing before you do the launch, which is really important. If you want your launch date to be successful, you want your launch date to be going as planned, as you have planned, you want to ensure that you do all the testing prior to it, which means you want to check whether the team members they are able to log into SymTrain with or without SSO. Are they able to hear to the script? If not, again, the microphone issue, that could be the issue. Are they able to run the sim, not only log in into the sim? You would want to check if they are able to run the sim which has been assigned to them, if they are able to see the playback report. So playback is something wherein they can see how exactly they have performed in that specific sim which they just ran, or all the sims which they have ran. So that's what they can see. So you would want to ask your trainees and the agents to see if they are able to access each of those. Once confirmed, once your trainees, once your leaders, everyone, they are able to access all the features of SymTrain, you are good to launch your program. And with that, we move on to our next session, which is monitoring. Before we move on to our next session, has anyone faced any challenges while launching their program, or is there anything new you would want to go ahead and ask, you want to share? Seems like no. Okay, cool, no problem. So, monitoring, as we discussed earlier in our session, is that monitoring is really very important because you got the tool, you have trained everyone, you now everybody's using the tool, but you want to see, you want to check, you want to track the everybody's performance to ensure that everybody is moving ahead in a right direction. And for that, you want to have key metrics, you want to have KPIs identified for measuring the performance. Are the agents running the sims on a daily basis? If they're running the sims on a daily basis, so for an example, if agent before using the SymTrain, they had CSAT of 55, for an example. But then as soon as they started using it, when you're checking their performance, you see a daily increase in their performance. Are you seeing that? If you're not seeing that, what is the problem? You may want to go ahead and check that with your team member. So that is why it's really very important that you have your KPI decide. You are not just running SymTrain, but you want to track your performance, and for that you have your KPI decided. You ensure that you're checking real-time performance for your team members, that as soon as they start running the sims, once they have started using the sims, you want to check the performance on a daily basis instead of just waiting for a week and then checking the performance. Because if you're checking the performance on a daily basis, you would get to know if the sim simulations are being used in a way you wanted everybody to use it. So that's why checking performance on a daily basis, it's really important. You want to have a structured feedback loop. That means now I remember there was a time wherein there was one customer who was just using the sims on a daily basis, and until our first weekly meeting happened, and that's where I asked, like, okay, I see few people have utilized the sims, few agents I see they have been using the sims 10 times a day, but wherein I see other team members, they're just using it 2 or 3 times a day. What happened? What is the reason? And that's where they got to know that, okay, maybe, and that's where they got to know that, okay, some of the agents, they're not actually using it, and some of the agents, they are using it, and they were only asking the performance from very selected people, and not from everybody, or not from the majority of the people. But when they asked for the feedback, that's what they got to know, okay, that few of the sims, they wanted to go ahead and change the flow out of it. And I would recommend that, you also ask your tenured people to use the sims, because new agent, they would not have much idea of how exactly the call flows are being run. So you obviously want to go ahead and if in case you have focused that you want to use sim only for trainee people, you ask them to use the sims for new agents. But at the same time, maybe you can ask your trainers, you can ask your existing tenured people to just see and provide you the feedback how it is working. Every week you may want to just go back and check with your team member if there is any change, or how exactly they're feeling about the sims, and based, and just align, and just see if that is matching with the what they are saying, is if that is matching with the performance report. If yes, good. If everything is going in a progressive manner, that's really good. But if not, you may want to go ahead and identify what is happening. Is the sim up to date? The topic which you have selected, is that up to date? Is the script which you have selected, is it matching with the current requirement? Because sometimes what happen is that a few sometimes that the topic which you have selected, those type of customer, it may be possible that you may be receiving that in December, But now iPhone has been launched, and then people might be using iPhone, the new version of the iPhone. So you might be getting a different type of customer. So that's what you have to focus, that are the sims up to date, are the topics up to date based on the season which might be currently going. Specifically in the BPO industry, you will see in a different season, you have different type of promotions going on. And if you're training your agent on a different promotions, you would want to go ahead and create that specific type of sim. Like if it's an NFL season, you cannot ask your agent to practice on iPhone selling sim, but you would want your agent to maybe pitch. If you want your agent to pitch for NFL, you want your agent to provide that, you want to give that kind of sim to them. So depending on the type of season, depending on the type of challenges, or you want whatever is holding your performance, that's the type of sim you want to go ahead and create. That's why feedback is really important, because once you're tenured people, they have used the sim, they will give you whether the sim is really helping you, not helping you. And you also want to go ahead and ask the feedback from your operations, from your T&D, basically from everyone, just to ensure the sims are working the way you wanted them to work. Oops, sorry. Okay. Regular reports and performance review, you want to keep a track, compare it with your KPI, see, and just want to ensure that you are hitting the goals for CSAT, for your sales, for your conversion, whatever targets you have prepared for. And ensure that you ask you based on the improvement areas you have received from your team. So if in case someone is saying that, the sims which are being created, now we are not getting that type of angry customer. Nowadays, we are getting all the customer who are planning to go for holiday. So you want to go ahead and create that kind of sim. Now, based on whatever you have heard with the feedbacks which you have received, you want to go ahead and improvise that those changes in your sim, and then provide the good updated sims to your team members. Any questions on this? Okay, so let's move on to next. And as we have been discussing, consistency is the key. You want to ask your agent that they get training, they are running the sims on a daily basis. Because for an example, you have created 5 scenarios, but then for out of those 5 call flows, they are only maybe they're using one beginner sim today, but for 2 days they did not use anything, and then after 2 days they're using some other call flow. So if they are not giving enough practice to one or each of the call flows, you would not get that kind of result which you were expecting for. So you would want to ensure that you give enough time to your team members on running the sims and understanding. You spend time with them in gathering the feedback, checking if the sims are working good or not. And to keep that in 3 step, you prepare good stuff, you ask your agent, you give enough time to practice, and then you will see the results, you will see the improvement. And with that, I am done with this session. What questions do we had? What challenges are you guys facing? Did you guys get to know anything new out of this session? Was there anything helpful? Do you guys think maybe you can use something out of this session in your next deployment? And yes, it's really very easy to deploy. You just want to go ahead and follow. You just want to ensure that you follow few very important things. I don't see we have any other question from anyone, but I hope everyone best of luck for all the new launches if you guys are planning. And in case you guys have any questions, I would recommend that you reach out to SymTrain for any questions you guys may have. And we uh, before we conclude this session, I do want to go ahead and give you one more thing. is that if in case you have any questions related to SymTrain, you can always reach out to, you can always, research on our help.simtrain.com, that this is where you will be able to find everything, how to and what exact information we have on our SymTrain website. In case you want to refer to previous tips and tricks session, you can reach out here, simtrain.ai tips and tricks session. That's where you will be able to access a previous session. Is there anything else I can help you guys with? One last thing I do want to go ahead and cover. I know since we just have 15 more minutes, I do want to go ahead and cover one last thing is that now people who have been with us and who have seen how we have been launching the program. So we do kind of create a sim library, and what the sim library is basically creating a list of topics, a list of sims which we have created for them. Now, as we so talking about an example which we were discussing, that if in case your agents are facing problem with the upselling, so you want to go ahead and create a sim, and then you create a library. Okay, for upselling, this is what you have. For objection handling, this is what you have. For CSAT, these are the topics which you have. And once you have aligned that, that will really help you in monitoring your performance and checking if you are moving ahead in right direction. So always ensure that you have that. Okay, I see I have a question. Oh, Jim. Yes, so I was speaking on the same line. Yeah, thank. I'm going ahead with that. So, so I was talking about sim library. So sim library is basically you will be a list of all the sims which you will be creating, a list of all the topics which you will be creating. So going back to our deployment steps, the planning steps which we were discussing. So where you decided the type of challenges you were facing, you identified your challenges. Now you, based on the challenges, you decided the type of topics you want to create, which will be your list for sim library, list of topics for your sim library. Once you have that, you need to align that with your goals and metrics. So for CSAT, you want to ensure that your agents know how to, maybe empathize with your customer if in case they're facing any problem, or how to personalize with your customer. Maybe if in case customer is coming up with a scenario, and sometimes you may have noticed that there are agents who sometimes miss on acknowledging customers concern. So you would want to go ahead and create a sim library focusing on those type of topics. So if your metrics is CSAT, you would want to go ahead and create a sim for empathy. You want to go ahead and create a sim on personalizing with your customer, acknowledging customers' concern, those type of sims. And that's how you will be able to align your metric along with your sim library. So your sim library is empathy sim, acknowledgement sim, personalization sim, and your metric was CSAT. If your metric is sale, you would want to go ahead and create a sim for upselling. You want to go ahead and create a sim for pitch for a sale, or different topics. That's what you can go ahead and create. And that's how you will be able to, create a good sim depending on the challenges which you're facing. Anything else in case if I'm missing out on anything? Okay. I guess I covered. I tried my best to cover everything. But yeah, still, in case you guys have anything, please feel free to, first of all, just feel free to, research our website. You can just go through our knowledge base, refer to our previous tips and tricks session, and you can also reach out to Kelly, Jamie, Jim, Dan, Liz, anyone for any questions you may have. And I'm also available in case you guys have already contacted me. You would have my email address as well. Kalpana@simtrend.com. Yep. Cool. In that case, I don't want to go ahead and take anyone's time in case nobody has any question. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate everyone's time. I
Thank
hope this
you.
information has helped you.
Thank you,
If
Kalpana.
not,
Thank
yep,
you, Kapam.
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
everyone's time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks so
Yep, have
much.
a great day.